Less than 9 months after the revelation that Angela Merkel's mobile phone was being bugged by American intelligence, the German Chancellor has been appalled to learn that one of her own officials was being paid for documents from the heart of the security service. The German political establishment is up in arms. A furious Frau Merkel has called for the CIA station chief in Berlin to pack his bags and go home. But US President Barack Obama has taken his time to respond to the criticism of his national security agency. The whole issue of mass surveillance of the internet, or indeed of telephone communications, is incredibly sensitive in Germany. It reminds people far too much of the way the Stasi secret police used to behave, bugging everybody in former communist East Germany, or indeed the way the Gestapo behaved in the Nazi years. So the fact that Angela Merkel's own mobile phone could have been bugged by the American intelligence agency has caused enormous public outcry. And now, a year later, it seems that nothing has changed.
Are Germany's concerns about US spying being taken seriously in Washington? I think not nearly as seriously as the Germans would like, and not nearly as seriously as Chancellor Merkel would like. But underlying all of this is a perception about President Obama that he's not very good at striking up close and sort of intimate relations with foreign counterparts. The way that the German-US spy scandal is viewed in Washington is actually very similar to how it's viewed in Germany. One, that Obama isn't necessarily fully in control of this vast panoply of intelligence agencies. And two, that Obama isn't doing what he can to reassure Germany, which of course is America's largest partner in Europe.
Chancellor Angela Merkel talks of trust being broken between Germany and the US by the NSA affair. But she also speaks about the need for ever closer cooperation between Germany and the US, including in spying and surveillance. But the point is, she wants that cooperation and that surveillance to be focused on potential enemies, such as international terrorists, and not on allies. There are, however, strong voices of criticism, notably from the Green Party and also from the left parties, and public anger as reflected in the media. So what she is trying to do, as she so often does with her political problems, is contain and control.
Just over the river here in the British Houses of Parliament, they're rushing through emergency legislation to require telephone companies and internet companies to keep their records so that the intelligence agencies can have access to them. That's something that would be unimaginable in a country like Germany, where data privacy is taken very, very seriously. There would have been a huge national debate before any such thing would be allowed. It just shows how big a divide there is, perhaps, between continental Europe and Britain and America on the other side. I asked James Duval at Chatham House in London what he thought were the reasons for such differences.
I think one of the reasons why the UK seems to be more relaxed about surveillance than Germany is to do with a sense of identity. I mean, there's a sense that in Britain, first of all, there is actually, I would say, a greater degree of historical trust in the government than in some other countries. Part of Britain's identity, more so than Germany, rests on an active international engagement. An active engagement means both using military power and using its intelligence agencies, and that doesn't really exist in Germany. If I was President Obama, I would be taking this latest German expression of distrust quite seriously.
The US, Germany and the UK are all very keen to negotiate a new transatlantic trade deal known as TTIP. But the spy spat could upset the whole process.
In Washington, the fear that the transatlantic deal with Europe is going to be jeopardized by this is very strong. Germany, again, is clearly the most important partner, and Angela Merkel is the most important counterpart for President Obama. And he hasn't really bent over backwards to reassure her that he's doing what it takes to stop this kind of espionage.
if somebody as cautious as the Chancellor is saying that trust has been damaged, we can certainly take it for granted that it has. There are obvious issues in TTIP, such as the use of confidential information by internet companies, which relate to the technologies and techniques used by the NSA. So this has certainly cast a cloud over TTIP. Does Angela Merkel want that cloud to remain? No, she doesn't. She and others close to her believe strongly that TTIP should go ahead, but it's become more difficult.
The real question is whether this row between Germany and America over spying and surveillance could become something rather more serious and a real transatlantic rift. The Europeans want more protection of data privacy in the trade negotiations, and it could hold up the whole process. And what about the NATO alliance? Could there be a serious division between the Europeans and Americans over how to deal with Russia in the Ukraine? I think that Barack Obama may be about to find out that it was very dangerous to allow Angela Merkel's mobile phone to be bugged. This is Quentin Peel for the Financial Times in London.